Welcome back to G&S Inside Story. I'm Josh Laster, SVP of Client Service, and I'm very excited today to be talking again with Vice President Beth Smith about the state of sustainability and ESG in the advanced manufacturing space. Hi, Beth.
Hey Josh, how you doing?
I'm doing great. So, where I wanted to start, as Earth Day just happened, that got both of us thinking about where we are with respect to ESG in the B2B sector and in advanced manufacturing specifically. So, in some ways, there seemed to be a ton of momentum here, more momentum than ever. And we're also seeing some advanced manufacturing companies quietly retreating from these sustainability stories, aren't we?
We are, and this topic of sustainability communications within advanced manufacturing space is so important right now. And, I think we both really feel, Josh, that companies should not be shying away from sustainability campaigns at the moment.
Yeah, even in uncertain economic environments like we seem to be in, when leadership has so much to contend with, challenges as varied as rising interest rates and reliability of supply chains, we're also seeing how easy it is to consider your ESG plan a nice to have or a we'll get back to it later kind of thing when the economy finds firmer footing. But Beth, you think this is a mistake, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do. And first of all, let's consider the theme for this year's Earth Day: invest in our planet. I think despite uncertain economic conditions, we're seeing that investing in sustainability is still smart. The Ukraine crisis, for example, has only accelerated the long term ambitions for renewable energy. And there are other factors here at play too, Josh. I mean, federal IRA support, you've got infrastructure spending on everything from roads and bridges to water treatment plants in local municipalities. The CHIPS Act, that's a great example of the potential to drive homegrown production of semiconductors and other highly advanced components. There's a real momentum around sustainability right now, and it's time to really seize the moment, especially if others are taking a step back a bit.
For sure. And to build on that, we've seen so many cycles like this before where tough times reveal who you really are as a company, right?
Mhm.
Your customers are watching, and these are the moments that they're going to come back to when you have the choice to either double down on your commitment and your values or push them to the back burner. And with some analysts saying, sustainable business models are going to open up economic opportunities as big as $12 trillion dollars or nearly 400 million jobs by 2030. Beth, how are you counseling clients to think about these commitments from a communications perspective? Is now the time to get loud or time to hunker down and execute?
Well, it's really time for both. But what we're telling clients is that they first really need a strong sustainability narrative that is backed by credible data and examples. I think probably over about the past year and a half or so, we've had a lot of clients come to us to help them flesh out their unique sustainability narratives. And when we go through that exercise, one of the most important things we do is we say, okay, what's the data? How can we back that up? I think there's a lot of great stories out there, but without that data, companies can be at risk of being called out for greenwashing. In fact, actually, there was an article in GreenBiz, I think just last week, that said how Americans seem increasingly concerned about environmental issues, especially the climate crisis, but are as confused as ever right now about what to do about it and whether or not to believe companies' green messaging. And this is a narrative that's really reflected, I think, in the more prominent sustainability surveys that came out this year, saying that consumers do care about sustainability and are backing it up with their wallets. But at the same time, US consumers expressed a lot of skepticism about essential, sources of information about the environmental effects of products. So I think the key takeaway here is, with your sustainability narrative, make sure that it is credible and that, consistency when you're telling it is key too.
This is like putting money in the reputational green bank, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
by doubling down on your values in challenging times, you're showing the depth of that commitment. And I would add, when it comes to communications, get specific. Show your math. Your audiences
Mhm.
care about this level of detail and transparency, and they're capable of understanding it too. So have that faith and trust in your audience to get into the weeds with you and understand what the impact of this commitment is throughout your entire operations and on to your customers. So if a train car full of your product were to go off the rails and make front page headlines tomorrow, would you have the credibility to step up to the podium and tell the town that you'll make it right? Or would that kind of comment, uh, land like another false promise that you'll
Mhm.
abandon if times get hard? These are the times to really talk loudly and proudly about your commitments, but also not to neglect how you'll actually achieve them. Talk about process, talk about details, and don't forget to do it with style, creativity, and passion, just like you would any other campaign.
Yeah, I totally agree, Josh. And I think, one point we haven't talked about yet, but I think is very important is that, a lot of clients we work with, especially just those in the advanced manufacturing space, don't just have their own sustainability commitments, but they provide a lot of value when it comes to helping their customers achieve their sustainability commitments as well. Whether it's by providing the materials they need to enable electrification or the components that will help, further industrial water reuse within that industry. This is part of an important conversation as well, to be able to tell those stories of how you're enabling your customers to achieve their sustainability goals and lead, the world to sort of a lower carbon future. And putting your customer at the center of those stories will really help bring them to life and make them more credible.
Such a great point, Beth. And never forget to put your customer at the center of the story,
Hmm.
which leads us to our big takeaway this Earth Day, which is really just remember that iron sharpens iron. Amid all of the uncertainty out there from the finance sector, global conflict, another election cycle ramping up, one thing is certain, and that's the drumbeat of sustainability is picking up, not slowing down. So, for companies in the advanced manufacturing space or any other market for that matter, 2023 is an opportunity to make a greater commitment than ever for your brand through that commitment to ESG in every aspect of your operations. So, thanks as always, Beth, to you for the amazing insights, and thanks to you all for watching.